Islamic response to the bogus monetary system, okay? And in that lecture we said Israel cannot claim to be a Khilafah state unless Israel is using gold and silver as money. When that day comes that Israel brings back gold and silver as money, I hope I'm not alive. May Allah take me away from the world, because the shame and the disgrace will be too great for me, for my heart. My heart will burst. That these people have to bring back dinar and dirham, while our people were eating biryani and going home to sleep. The shame and the disgrace will be too great. So I ask in that lecture that all those who hear my lecture, go and ask your scholars of Islam, wherever you can meet them. Even if you can't meet them in person, you can send an email to them and ask them politely so. We don't see this money in the Quran and Sunnah, no. The money we're now using, is it halal or is it haram? And we don't want a private answer. We want an answer that we can publish, okay? So you put some pressure on them. If they say we don't know, you can ask them, well, how long will you take? We want an answer. You can't remain silent forever. No, okay? In the meantime, if it is possible to have money which is redeemable in gold, like Ahmad Sukarno attempted in Indonesia, that's why they overthrew him, that the Indonesian rupiah would have been redeemable in gold, that you could go take it to some office and collect your gold, redeemable in gold, then the Indonesian rupiah would have been halal. It's like a check. You can cash the check, okay? It's redeemable in gold. Perhaps if that can be done, then that would be a solution to the problem. However, they cannot allow anyone to succeed. Because if one country were to succeed, it will bring down the whole monetary system. So they will wage war to prevent you. That's why they attacked Libya. They wage war to ensure that you do not establish a monetary system in which your money is redeemable in gold and silver. Okay? The Articles of Agreement of the International Monetary Fund prohibit the use of gold as money. Dr. Mahathir was not aware of that. I am not a politician. I don't comment on politics. But when someone does what is right, I declare that he did what is right, and I don't care who is annoyed with me. A scholar of Islam doesn't bow his head before public opinion. Dr. Mahathir was not aware that the International Monetary Fund prohibited the use of gold as money. But Dr. Mahathir was able to recognize, as no one else recognized, that this was wrong. That this was wrong. That you cannot prohibit the use of gold as money. And Dr. Mahathir did what no one else did in the history of this country. Let me remind the Malaysian people, if they need to be reminded, that Dr. Mahathir did what no one else did ever did, and perhaps no one else will ever do. When I met him, I told him that. I said, you're the second one to do it. The first was General Charles de Gaulle. General Charles de Gaulle recognized that this was wrong, this was unjust. Bringing a new monetary system in the world, and in order for this bogus system to survive, you have to prohibit the use of gold as money. So Charles de Gaulle stood up in the French National Assembly in 1966. That's why the French people loved Charles de Gaulle. And he blasted them. In the French National Assembly, he blasted them. And he declared this to be an unjust monetary system that you brought into the world. And so they took out their knives for him. Yeah. And they finished him. And after after Charles de Gaulle, the only other one was Dr. Mahathir. And so this country should be proud of Dr. Mahathir. Because he recognized what no one else recognized. And no one else dares to recognize. They don't have the courage to recognize what he recognized. And tonight I have to give credit where credit is due, regardless of the price I have to pay. At the time when I said that Dr. Mahathir was only the second, I was wrong. I didn't know he was the third. I didn't know that there was one before him. I didn't know that there was one before Charles de Gaulle. But he's today forgotten. They call him a playboy. Ahmad Sukarno was more than a playboy. Ahmad Sukarno was more than a playboy. When Indonesia became independent, Ahmad Sukarno called him the ulama. He had the courage to do it. And he asked him about this money. I'm not a scholar of Islam, you are the scholar. Tell me, how can we have paper as money? How can we have paper as money? And the ulama replied to him and said to him, the paper would be halal only if it is redeemable in gold. Meaning you could take the paper and get the gold at a fixed rate. So the paper will be like a check. So Ahmad Sukarno decided that the Indonesian rupiah would be redeemable in gold, and he fixed the rate. But the people who want to rule the world, they had made that haram. In the Articles of Agreement of the International Monetary Fund. So they had to launch a coup, get rid of Sukarno. We said that an alternative could also be where you establish markets in which you use actual gold and silver for buying and selling. And in Hari Raya Haji or Eid al-Adha, you have to buy animals to sacrifice. So I don't know what you use, whether you use ringgit or rupiah or whatever. I use dinar and dirham. Yes, I bought my animal with dinar and dirham. Yeah, and then we had the sacrifice. If we could encourage this is a micro response. Before the war takes place, okay, make sure you have at least 100 dirhams at home. It may be 2 dirhams a day for food, 2 dirhams a day, depending on the size of your family. So at least for 50 days you have food. Make sure you have at least 100 dirhams at home. And if you can have some dinars as well, alhamdulillah, that's even better, okay? This is another response that you have. Finally, we said that one of the prophecies of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is that in the end time, the earth will vomit from its liver columns of gold and silver. The likelihood is that this will take place in Indonesia. Yeah, because of the volcanoes of Indonesia, they call a ring of fire. And these volcanoes are all already producing gold in Java, okay? When that gold comes into the world, that gold can then be used to fight their monetary system. Yeah. I think that's enough for today. May Allah take these words all over the world of Islam, and may Allah take these words also to our brothers and sisters all over the Orthodox Christian world, because we are one family. You and us, we are one family. And that we may now wage the struggle to restore the Khilafah state somewhere on Allah's earth. The Khilafah state being defined as a state in which Allah's law is supreme. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب